Retro Road Test, Vauxhall Omega vs Rover 800. For many years, the executive car market in Britain has been a battleground for domestic manufacturers striving to produce vehicles capable of rivaling their German counterparts. Two key players in this sector during the 1990s were the Vauxhall Omega and the Rover 800. These cars were aimed at business users and family buyers who wanted refinement, comfort, and a touch of prestige without the expense of a premium German badge. In this road test, we compare these two executive saloons across a range of factors to determine which offers the better package. Exterior styling and road presence. The Vauxhall Omega, launched in 1994, was a replacement for the aging Carlton and adopted a far more modern approach to styling. Its aerodynamic shape, curved body lines, and subtle chrome detailing gave it a contemporary yet understated look. The large Vauxhall grille and sweeping headlights provided a distinctive front end, while the rear was clean and unfussy. Overall, the Omega projected an image of understated executive class, albeit with a design that some might argue lacked excitement. The Rover 800, on the other hand, was originally launched in 1986 but received a significant facelift in 1991 to keep it competitive. The revised styling was much sharper, with a more pronounced grille, squarer proportions, and improved detailing. The Rover's more traditional design language appealed to buyers looking for a British luxury aesthetic, and its presence on the road carried a level of prestige thanks to its historical association with the likes of the Rover 5P and 6P. While both cars had their strengths in styling, the Omega looked fresher and more modern, whereas the Rover 800 had an air of traditional British luxury that some buyers preferred. Interior design and comfort. Inside, both cars aimed to offer high levels of comfort and a well-appointed cabin. The Omega's interior was spacious and featured a well-laid-out dashboard with clear dials and logically placed controls. The seats were supportive and comfortable, making long journeys a breeze. High-spec models featured wood trim and leather upholstery, adding a touch of luxury. The Rover 800, however, had a more overtly luxurious approach. Wood veneer and leather were more prevalent, and the dashboard had a more traditional, upright design. The seats were plush and well padded, though some found the driving position slightly awkward due to the relatively high dashboard and offset pedals. Both cars offered generous rear legroom, making them ideal for chauffeur-driven use. However, the Rover had a slight edge in perceived luxury, while the Omega felt more contemporary and ergonomic. Performance and driving experience. Both the Omega and Rover 800 were available with a variety of petrol and diesel engines, catering to different levels of performance and efficiency. Vauxhall Omega. The range included a 2.0-litre four-cylinder, a 2.5-litre V6, and a 3.0-litre V6, alongside diesel options such as a 2.5-litre inline-six sourced from BMW. The 3.0-litre V6 produced around 201 bhp, enabling a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just over 8 seconds. The Omega's rear-wheel drive layout gave it a more dynamic feel on the road, with balanced handling and predictable cornering behavior. Rover 800. The Rover featured Honda-derived four-cylinder engines early on but later adopted the 2.0-litre T-Series turbocharged unit and the 2.7-litre Honda V6. The most powerful 2.7-litre V6 produced 169 bhp, delivering a 0 to 60 miles per hour time of approximately 8.5 seconds. The Rover's front-wheel drive layout meant it lacked the dynamic finesse of the Omega, and while the ride was generally comfortable, the handling could feel somewhat vague compared to its Vauxhall rival. In terms of outright driving enjoyment, the Omega was the more engaging car thanks to its rear-wheel drive dynamics and well-sorted chassis. However, the Rover 800 was refined at motorway speeds and provided a softer ride, making it more suited to relaxed cruising. Ride and handling. The Omega excelled in ride quality and composure. The suspension was well tuned, striking a fine balance between comfort and stability. The steering was well weighted, and the car felt planted at high speeds. Whether on the motorway or tackling winding country roads, the Omega felt secure and composed. The Rover 800 prioritized comfort over sportiness. The suspension was softer, soaking up bumps well, but at the expense of some body control. The steering lacked the precision of the Omegas, and under hard acceleration, the front-wheel drive layout sometimes led to torque steer, especially in the more powerful turbocharged versions. For those seeking a more engaging driving experience, the Omega was the superior choice. However, for sheer comfort, the Rover 800 had an edge. Practicality and boot space. Both cars were designed to be practical executive saloons with spacious interiors and generous boot space. The Omega offered a 530-liter boot, making it well suited to long trips and business use. The Rover 800's boot was slightly smaller at 440 liters, but its shape made it very usable. Additionally, the Rover was available in a hatchback body style, which significantly improved practicality for those needing to carry bulkier items. Rear passenger space was ample in both vehicles, with plenty of head and legroom. Both cars were comfortable for 4 adults, though the Rover's slightly higher set rear seats made it easier for passengers to see out. Equipment and technology. In terms of equipment, both cars were well specified in higher trims. The Omega featured air conditioning, electric seats, cruise control, and a high-quality sound system. Later models included traction control and an advanced trip computer. The Rover 800 was similarly well equipped, with leather seats, climate control, and a premium sound system available in top models. However, some of its electronics were known to be less reliable than the Omegas, which could lead to costly repairs. Running costs and reliability. Both cars had their strengths and weaknesses when it came to reliability. The Omega's engines, particularly the BMW-sourced diesels and the V6 petrol units, were generally reliable if well maintained. However, some models suffered from electrical gremlins and rust in later years. The Rover 800 was notorious for its sometimes patchy build quality, particularly in earlier models. Electrical issues, failing trim pieces, and cooling system problems were not uncommon. That said, the Honda-derived engines in early models were bulletproof, and later models with the T-Series turbo engine offered decent durability if properly maintained. Fuel economy varied depending on the engine. The Omega's diesel models could return upwards of 40 miles per gallon, making them attractive for high-mileage drivers. The petrol V6s in both cars were thirstier, typically achieving mid-20s miles per gallon. Verdict: which is the better car? Choosing between the Vauxhall Omega and Rover 800 ultimately depends on the buyer's priorities. The Vauxhall Omega is the better choice for those who value a well-balanced driving experience, a modern design, and superior handling. Its rear-wheel drive setup, refined ride quality, and strong engines make it a compelling package for long-distance drivers and enthusiasts alike. The Rover 800 appeals more to those who prefer a traditional British luxury feel, a softer ride, and a prestigious badge. While not as dynamically capable as the Omega, it offers comfort, character, and a certain charm that still resonates with classic car enthusiasts today. If outright driving enjoyment and modernity are key, the Omega takes the crown. However, for those who favor a cosseting ride and an air of old-school British luxury, the Rover 800 remains an appealing alternative. Either way, both cars represent an era when British manufacturers were still fighting hard to compete in the executive car market, offering a blend of comfort, prestige, and practicality.